Welcome back. Episode 40. We're turning 40 today.
Isn't that crazy?
You've aged
40,
a bit.
man.
You're middle-aged man.
I hate this pillow.
Hey, what did that pillow ever do to you?
Stupid.
Coming up today, we got to talk about the Ryder Cup.
Yep.
Fun stuff. MLB playoffs are starting right now as we're recording. Some of the games are actually even done now. So we've got a little preview, some predictions, which it's ridiculous because you play 162 games all year and then it's a crapshoot in the playoffs. So we're going to probably regret the things we say, but whatever. College football, NFL week 4, and then of course the power rankings, predictions, hot takes, drafts, all of that thing. First up though, before we get into any of that, Taylor Swift was back in the house at MetLife. In the NFL, we're allowed to talk about it because we're a podcast. We can do whatever we want. They're going overboard with
Too much.
Too much.
Way too much.
They had the intro with the voice coaches. That was wild.
Way too much.
Where they did every single pun. The next time that I hear blank space is an opportunity to say that there's an open receiver, I'm going to scream. Show her, cut to her. That's great. I'm excited about it, but it felt cringy.
It's disgusting. It pisses me off, dude. Like at first I was like, this is kind of cool. You know, like Taylor Swift.
So to be clear, I'm all for her being at the games. I think this is super
absolutely.
cool. Like, yeah, you pan to every celebrity, but I'm like, come on, NFL, we are allowed to ride Taylor Allison Swift's coattails in a way to get a little bit of a pump, but they are not.
Do you know how bad it is? So Becca was actually watching the Chiefs game with me.
Yeah.
Or halfway watching. She was on TikTok for, but even she goes, this is way too much.
It's just so over the top.
Like they're talking about Taylor Swift more than any of the players.
And look, I get it. She's big enough that she can give everyone a boost.
Effect.
Yeah. Caitlin was watching the game for Taylor Swift. I get it, but it's over the top. You can Taylor Swift fans, I was going to say Swifties, but Taylor Swift fans will read into things anyway. You don't have to broadcast it. That's what they do. They're obsessed with the puzzles.
They are.
So one thing I will say along with it, it's got to be really fun for her, minus the NFL stuff, to just be at the games where sports are like a great equalizer in a lot of ways. Like obviously she's got cameras on her 24/7 and even in the games, but like being a fan of sports is just fun. And it's an opportunity that everything's not all about you again.
Right.
And I think that at least in Kansas City, when they were playing the Bears, it looked like she was just enjoying that, which was kind of fun. And in the NFL, it's going and doing this with zero chill.
None.
Zero chill.
Like just to boost their ratings a little bit and like social media stuff, like it is unbelievable. But I tell you what, when it's in the New Heights podcast with Travis and Jason, and Jason goes, how does it feel, Travis, that Taylor Swift finally put you on the map?
Yeah, because I'll cover all the videos about it because there's so many videos I've seen of wives or girlfriends or significant others.
Oh,
like
Becca did a good one.
Oh, she got you on one?
Yeah, she was like, I feel like Taylor Swift is putting Travis Kelce on the map. And I
and
was
you
like,
fell for it.
What do you mean?
Post line and sinker. I've seen one funny reverse one where the guy went up to her and was like, "Do you see Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are dating? That's cool. Like, she's going to blow up now." Like, she's going to be such a big thing. But anyway,
that's fine.
No chill NFL, which
there's definitely
shocker.
a lot of Kelce jersey sales, though. Good for him.
400%.
Yeah.
I think the number that I've seen of people going up. But
you're right. For
anyway, shocker that an organization led by Roger Goodell has no chill. Shocker.
Yeah.
Shocker.
No pun intended. Man, that guy makes some money. You want to talk about people who do well?
Yeah, when you
Roger Goodell.
When you're the patsy for billionaires, of course.
Yeah, I mean, he does well for himself.
He does do well.
But yeah, I'm done with Taylor Swift.
Don't say that. We're not done with Taylor Swift. We're done with the NFL being wild about it.
We're done with the NFL acting like the way that they're acting towards Taylor Swift.
Like they're being needy. It's making all sports fans look bad.
It's kind of like, you know, when you're in 9th grade and you like see a really pretty girl and you've never really talked to girls seriously before and you're like needy. You're like, hey, do you want to go to the movies?
And then it's like, spoiler alert, act like you don't care. And then that's when you become cool.
I'll never forget when my older friends in high school said, dude, just act like you don't care about it at all. And I go, what?
You go, challenge accepted. You took it way too far.
Yeah.
Well, other thing I've got to address. Last week you were talking about how you're about to kick me out of the league.
I'm done with you.
Because I had 210 fantasy points. This week, all of my players went on strike. Did not break 70. We're going to... Yes, we will get into that
the
right now.
The crazy part is, it's not like you had people who got hurt.
No, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm very aware of that. Check this out. So we had, we're not on the same team. Patrick Mahomes had 13 points. Wow. Alexander Mattinson had 10.8. Then Raheem Mostert, who was the number one scoring running back, who had 45 points last week, had 5.5.
That's because, what's the name of Kane?
A-Chain.
A-Chain. Dude.
Well, no, not so, because both of them last week had like 4 touchdowns. They both had over 47
points. 100%, but A-Chain had also 30 points this week.
I know. Because I picked him up in my other league. Wasn't able to get in this league.
Yeah. Who got him? Oh, Pierce did, I think.
Yeah,
Pierce.
I hopped on it quick, but my waiver order is just like too low, which is just bummer.
Well, Pierce is 0-4.
Devontae Adams went out of the game, terrified me, finally came back in, and he was my high scorer with 15.5 points. Nice. Chris Olave, 1.4. TJ Hawkinson, 4.4. Then Deebo Samuel, 0.6. The San Francisco defense, incredible, with 1 point. And then Harrison Butker was my number 3 high scorer with 11.
Nice.
No, not nice.
Dude, McCaffrey just took over that game.
Yes, we will toss it to Iceman right now.
What's up, everybody? This week's unsung hero is not the guy that jumped into the pond multiple times after Europe secured the Ryder Cup win in his all-white outfit. No, and unfortunately, it's not really going to be good vibes and happy feelings on this one. But it's nonetheless an important reflection. This week's unsung hero goes out to the late Tim Wakefield, who this week lost his battle with brain cancer at the age of 57. Tim Wakefield is a Red Sox Hall of Famer, and I get it. You're going to give me Homer, chirps, or whatever you want. Fine, bring him. Because this guy personified what baseball can be, what baseball should be, and how to play sports in general. He's everything we want out of an athlete. Tim Wakefield has an impressive resume. 2-time World Series champ. He helped break the curse of the Bambino in 2004. And even went on to have an all-star appearance and is in the record books for the Red Sox organization as a whole. He's the franchise leader for innings pitched. He is third on the list for all-time wins in Red Sox history, behind Cy Young and Roger Clemens. And he is only 3 wins behind Roger Clemens as the all-time winningest pitcher at Fenway Park. But it's what Wakefield's work ethic was and what he became off the field, I think, that we have to highlight about his legacy. You see, Tim Wakefield was drafted as a first baseman by the Pirates in 1988, given a little over $15,000, and sent to the minor leagues like every scrub that's drafted. He was quickly told, son, you're not going to make it to the show as a first baseman. And that's where Tim Wakefield, the legend, begins. He went back and said, all right, well, I want to play Major League Baseball. How do I do this? And he found a creative way. He started pitching with the knuckleball. And that's what we all know Tim for, right? Wake was a guy that'd get up there and I'd just kind of hold on to something tight because we had no clue where that ball was going. But if he could have it locked in that night, nobody was going to get anything past him. Sure, Tim's a guy that ended up retiring in 2012 with a little over 4.4 ERA. Nothing super crazy. But then you start digging a little further into his resume. And you realize this guy's legend is going to last for a long time. It's the impacts he made off the field. As a father of 2, as a committed husband, as a born-again believer, that he wanted to be the ripple effect of his life. And Tim Wakefield was nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award, the award given to baseball's philanthropic picture each year. The person they want to be the representation of what baseball can be for the community. And he was nominated for that 8 times before even, and ended up winning it in 2010. He went on to be the chairman of the Red Sox Foundation, which partners with children's hospitals nearby and youth initiatives to help give kids a fighting chance every day. But it was the interview of Jason Varitek that finally got me. That finally got me a little choked up. Jason Varitek, the captain of the Red Sox, the guy that I look at as the picture of what the Boston Red Sox organization should be, and what baseball should be, a guy that is committed to his craft. He's a nerd for stats. Through literal sobs, somebody said, can you try and put into words what Wake means for you? He said, I think you can see it. And that's what got me. I think he went on to say that Wake was a guy that always proved day in and day out that the name on the front of the jersey was way more important than the name on the back. And so while we step back, and it's fun to reflect on sports, It's a great reminder to remember that some things are bigger than sports, and that includes the legacy you leave behind. Heroes come and go, but legends never die. And Tim Wakefield, rest easy. You're this week's unsung hero.
Wakefield was a legend.
He was. Dude, I remember he really started destroying kids, and then R.A. Dickey did too.
Yeah,
like with the knuckleball.
And then everyone wanted to throw a knuckleball.
And then I want to throw a knuckleball.
You probably had a nasty one, right?
No, it was like every once in like 50 times, it was like moved maybe a couple inches.
That's a lot,
Anyway,
though.
but Tim Wakefield revolutionized. Is that a way to put it?
He revolutionized the lack of revolutions in a baseball.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Dang. It's sad. It's kind of sad, though.
It's sad, but shout out Iceman from the heart. From the heart.
Did he feel sad?
A little bit.
I get nervous a lot.
That's just like a feels, though.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, do you ever feel like you get
plastic
sad
bag?
and nice, you took that one and ran with it, didn't you?
Drifting through the wind?
You ever feel sad and nervous at the same time? That's how that video made me feel.
I was going to say Swervis, but there's no W. Yeah.
Should we? Dude, every time we do that, it makes me think about Bobby Altoff. Like, we should become like an awkward sports pod. It's like, so, Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And instead of having actual guests that are interesting, it's just the two of us talking.
Yeah.
And so no one listens because it's just us not being able to carry a conversation. I think that has potential.
It does.
Should we talk about the Ryder Cup?
We should.
Should we?
Nah. We can talk about it for a second because I don't want to talk about it for
Talk about poop in the bed day one.
Well, yeah, and even day two.
But day one, it was like,
Day
it
one
was
was
basically
awful.
over.
Yeah, and the largest Ryder Cup comeback was 4 points. I think it was 10-6. And then they were down 5.
Wow.
So that would have been the largest comeback ever.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be not even close. Like it was for a second, it was close with a few holes to go. But then Fowler lost his match.
Which was the one that sealed it.
That sealed it. Yeah, it went here in the water. And then they won another match. And
Well, it was close with like a miracle. You know what I mean? Where there was
they
a
had
chance.
to win the last 5.
Right.
The last 5 matches they had to win. And I'm telling you what, Justin Thomas, for as bad as he played this year, he actually looked pretty good in singles, looked pretty good in the best ball as well. Jordan Spieth needs to quit the game of golf, right? Like, or just go on like a year hiatus.
Go find himself.
He does. He
Go on a
needs,
spiritual journey.
you know how like college professors go on sabbaticals?
Yeah.
He needs to do that. But instead of it being like a couple months, he needs to do it for 2 years.
It needs to be a very strong journey where he does some digging.
Man.
He looks inward.
And I mean, Zach Johnson picked him. I mean,
Jag Zonson.
picked Jordan to be on the team. And I get it. Jordan's got some good experience. He used to be pretty good at these things.
And the Justin Thomas pick paid off. So
But Justin Thomas is still relevant. Like, yes, he
he's
had a
played
bad,
worse than Jordan Spieth though.
Well, last 3 months he has.
Yeah.
But even beginning of the season, he was playing solid.
That's
but
fair.
he did lose it there for a hot second.
Yeah, you said you didn't
shot-
even want him to come on the pod again,
Dude,
which was aggressive.
He shot 81, and then like a couple weeks later, shot 82. And at that moment, I go, "There's hope.
I was like, hit at 83, then
There's hope."
there's hope.
You know. But I mean, all in all, I thought it was kind of a dramatic Ryder Cup a little bit with like the live stuff, right? Like Brooks Koepka. coming
Shout out
on,
Brooksy.
And then also with like the whole or the Rom thing, like
Yeah, when he's
Koepka
childish
called-
for hitting.
which first of all, Brooks has done on the course a lot worse,
Yeah.
like than hit a sign. Brooks has said stuff on the course that like you can't have kids hearing, right? Like,
What was unacceptable though was Scotty Scheffler crying.
I like that.
That was the one that was out of bounds.
No,
for
I
me.
like that.
No, I don't.
I like that. I'm a fan.
You
of that.
like that?
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of a guy
Kirko
caring
Chains.
so much that he feels upset, like that upset. I'm a fan of that.
Mm.
Because, you know, dude, that guy's number one golfer in the world. And the fact that he cares so much about this tournament, I think says a lot about this tournament.
Unless
Also-
you're Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah.
Because
well,
then, what do you think about that? The rumor that I guess he wasn't wearing the hat because he's upset that he didn't get paid for it.
so I think it was just that. I think it was a rumor because like a couple guys didn't wear their hats
Yeah, but
Sunday.
I don't really like Patrick Cantlay.
No,
so.
no, I don't like it. I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
don't know if it's true
I'm
or
not
not.
a
but I'm
big
gonna choose
fan
to believe.
of Piquant But like, so
He can't.
But what I do, I just hate him actually.
Yeah. So it was true. It was in fact true that he was just being a baby.
I was talking to actually a buddy about this the other day. Like, should they get paid for the Ryder Cup? And he was like, absolutely. And I was like, why? He was like, because they're performing and they're doing this and that. I said, I get it. But like the people who play in the Ryder Cup are like the best of the best. Like an extra $100,000 for these guys, A, doesn't matter, right? But also B, it's like, I think it misaligns the motives.
Whose motives?
Like the purity of the Ryder Cup.
If the Ryder Cup cost money, it wouldn't still be a thing.
You don't think it costs money?
There's winnings to go to charity, right? That's cool. That's good. But I'm sure that someone's getting paid with the advertisement, with TV deals. It's not a whole charity.
But why do they need to get paid?
Why should they do it for free?
I think you're asking the wrong question. They've always done it for free. Like that's the precedent of the game.
Well, you know what they say. If something's been done before, we got to keep doing it because it's been done before.
I'm just saying, right? There's definitely some history and some legacy when you're talking about the Ryder Cup.
History's overrated.
Here we go.
It's overrated.
Here we go.
No, that's why I live golf. No, I'm just kidding.
Tiger Woods, right? And all these people coming up that made the Ryder Cup great for both Europe and America never got paid. So you're saying now, because we have a bunch of crybaby babies on the team.
No, I don't think because of the crybabies. I think just because of the principle. Like if it's an event that's making money, why should they be expected to do it for free?
Because they're representing it's the Americans and the Europeans.
You get paid for the Olympics though.
Only if you win, right? And your sponsorship deals? Like you get sponsorship deals, yes, but then I think you get paid if you win.
Huh? You're right. Huh. So it would be like the Olympics. Again? You're right.
Thank you.
I'm cutting that out just because he said that. So in the Olympics, if you don't get paid, I mean, I guess.
Because you're representing country.
So anyway, you don't think they should be paid. Max Homa showed out.
He did. Dude, Max Homa looked great, honestly. And I think that's going to give him a lot of confidence. Watch out for Max Homa winning a major in 2024.
Please. Because do you know where he's ended? Was he like 8th, 6th, something like that in FedEx Cup points?
I think it was top 10. Yeah.
But he's got to win a major.
I think this year he does.
I would love that.
I think this year he does. Mark my words. I'm actually going to put money on it right now. Max Homa's going to win a major.
As he picks up his phone and sets it right down. I would love that. I like Max Homa. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. And then, of course, to cap it off, we have the guy jumping in the pond.
Which was fun.
I mean, if you haven't jumped in a pond,
we got a runner.
Have you ever jumped in a pond at a golf course?
No.
I did one time.
It's pretty.
And it felt great.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did you run as fast as that guy though? Because he darted.
No, I didn't. But what I did do, it was like on like 17. It was at Sycamore.
Yeah.
And me and Andrew, I don't remember exactly what we were doing, but we felt the need to take our clothes off and jump in the pond at Sycamore.
That's ridiculous.
We had our underwear on though.
Wow. So modest of you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think rumor has it that man.
Visit me on WW.
He might have hit like 5.6 miles an hour running across that lawn. Maybe. Fast guy.
Yeah. Anyway, all in all, the Americans cannot win overseas. Period.
That's fair.
It'll be at least 34 years because they play obviously in American too.
Not 34 more years, 34 total years.
Yeah, when next year kicks off.
Or next European. This was 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's every 2.
Alternates. It just took me a second. The first time I saw that, that it was going to be 34 years. I'm like, wait, they're just doing total years.
But really, still, that's this like what?
4 years from now.
So there's been 17. Yeah, so still, it's like 8 or 9, the last 8 or 9 times in Europe. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's definitely a long time. I'm just saying that it's not 34
It definitely
years
accentuates
now,
it, though,
obvious,
when
but
it's like 34 years since they won. It's like,
yeah, especially when people are like, so now it won't be for 34. Now it won't be 34 years or until 34 years. And you're like, whoa, 34 years from now? No, that's not the case. MLB playoffs underway. Tuesday, right now we are recording. It is the Brewers just got off to a 1-0 lead. Rangers beat the Rays 4-0, and the Twins beat the Blue Jays. So bracket right now we've got in the NL, we've got the Diamondbacks playing the Brewers. The winner of that game takes on the Dodgers. Then Marlins, Phillies, your guys.
Easy Phillies dub.
Taking on the Braves. Then other side of it in the AL, we've got the Rangers taking on the Rays, and then Twins taking on the Blue Jays. This is ridiculous to try to do, but you want to try to predict?
Well, I think there's no way it's not LA and Atlanta on the NLCS. Let's put it that way. So I think it's going to be Brewers and Dodgers. Dodgers can take that series.
You think Brewers are taking the Diamondbacks?
Yep.
What about Marlins, Phillies?
I think Phillies take it.
Yeah.
I think Bryce Harper carries them. There's a reason they're paying him $330 million.
Fair. Then Rangers, Rays. Who's taking that series?
So the Rangers won already. So you got to think Rangers, right? Win game 1?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And then
and Twins.
And then Twins, Astros. Who's winning that?
Astros somehow win every year. But yes.
I hate them. And then Rangers, Orioles.
Rangers.
Ooh. So then we've got Rangers and Astros.
Astros.
So Astros in the World Series against Dodgers or Braves? Who you
Braves.
got? Astros, Braves. Interesting.
Astros are always in there, dude.
They are.
I just think the Orioles haven't been this good in so long.
I know.
And I just feel like they're gonna. I hate to say it, but they're gonna fall apart.
Yeah. I don't want them to.
No, I like the Orioles.
What's so frustrating though about this is it's like what I was saying earlier. There's 162 games. So you watch teams all year and then you build a case about them because of that, which is a large sample size.
Yeah. You know,
and so I'm like very convinced. It's like you look at the seeding and you're like, yeah, this kind of makes sense. But you forget it's October, so something ridiculous is going to happen.
100%.
You know what I mean?
But also, you know, as well as anyone else, because you're kind of intelligent, it's all about pitching in the postseason, right? If you have a good 1-2 punch and you have a good bullpen.
Yeah. So I guess I'll run through it. I unfortunately think that you're right. I think the Phillies are going to beat the Marlins.
Rough.
I don't want that. I don't want to play the Phillies personally.
Rough.
The Braves obviously have the most firepower. They're the most dominant team. But the Phillies, they've got some pop in their bats.
Dude, they got some pop.
And they save it for the Braves, which is
They really
not
do,
fun.
yeah.
The Braves are not going to be overlooking that series, especially after last year.
Right.
So we'll like them. But anyway, we'll go Phillies. And then I think I wanted to go with the Diamondbacks, but I think the Brewers are going to take that. So Brewers moving on. I kind of like them to beat the Dodgers. I think pitching wise, that's where there's going to be a big difference.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the upset. So Brewers moving on in the NLCS. I think the Braves are taking the Phillies, and then they're going to meet the Brewers, and then the Braves are going to go to the World Series. Other side of things, I wanted to do Blue Jays, but the Twins are hot right now. I think they're taking the Blue Jays, and then I think the Twins are also going to beat the Astros. So the Twins are going to go to the ALCS. Even though the Rangers are up 1 game, I think the Rays are going to come back.
Wow. Because it's best of 3, right?
It is. It's best of 3.
And then it's best of 5 in the NLDS, right? And it's best of 7
Yeah.
for the NLCS.
So I think the Rays are going to win the next 2, though.
Okay.
So I think the Rays will win that. Then Orioles, Rays. My head says Rays, but my heart says Orioles. And so I'm going to go with my heart here, which is a stupid idea.
Mm-hmm.
So then the Orioles are going to be playing the Twins. And then the Orioles, I would, again, just heart-based. They're going to the World Series. And it's going to be the Orioles and the Braves. And the number 1 seeds from each division, which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
But Braves win it all.
I would like to see the Braves win it all.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Did you see? So the Braves ended up tying the 2019 Twins' record.
I saw that. Yeah. In the
But-
9th inning.
Yeah, because in the 8th, I think it was Eddie Rosario, who was the one who hit it for the Twins, which is kind of cool. So he hit one that was it was less than a foot off the top of the wall, probably 6 inches off the top of the wall, that would have tied the record. Obviously, didn't go out. It was a double. And the Braves were up 1 or 2 runs, I can't remember, going into the top of the 9th. Blew the save, which then allowed Ozuna to come in and hit that 307, which is kind of fun. Wow, we ended up losing the game, which I'm great. I'm like, yeah, trade the game for the tying the record there.
They did that on purpose.
You could see in games or like around the 7th inning, which it kind of frustrated me, which yes, I understand the World Series is more important. I would obviously rather win the World Series, but they were pulling Matt Olson and Acuna out after the first at bat, the last few games, which was a bummer. And about the 7th innings when we started swinging for the fences, I'm like, nah, start off the whole game. Just go for a home run derby.
100%.
Yeah. This game doesn't matter. Just have fun and hit a bunch of home runs.
Yeah, I like that.
So anyway, Ozuna had both of the home runs that game. We only had 3, I think, that series, which was wild.
So that is the one thing that makes me nervous with these teams. where it's like they're definitely injury prone. I mean, not injury prone. They're like injury proof, where it's like they take them out of they take Acuna and Olsen out of the first at bat. So they're not seeing a bunch of live pitches, and they're not going to see a live pitch for the next week and a half.
This weekend.
Or this weekend?
Yeah. So I agree in a lot of ways. We ended up keeping starters for the most part in this week for that reason, because it's like you've got a week to recover. Olsen and Acuna were those were the ones that were taken out. So they were at least getting one bat in that game, but I hear what you're saying. I think the rest, though, at the end of the day, especially pitching-wise, worth it.
Pitching-wise, yes. Hitting-wise, I don't know. It's very easy to get a 10th of a second off.
What's nice about the Braves, though, is they have so many different players that can be like the ignition for the offense.
True.
Where I remember hearing Matt Olson, I might have said this on the pod, might not have, but he was on Pardon My Take, and they were asking him, they're like, is it tough when everyone's so good and they're hitting like home runs left and right? Does it make you feel like you got to be on your game at all times? And he's like, actually, no, it's the opposite. When it gives you the freedom to know that I can have off nights, because if I'm off, the other guys are going to pick me up. Whereas there are a lot of teams where if you're the Matt Olson that hits 54 home runs and you're not on, like you're not winning that series.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's a good point.
And then the Braves starting rotation could be, it's like the 3-4
Strider's
pitchers.
sexy,
Strider's looking good. Fried's looking good. Anyway, Wright is the interesting one. He's back. I don't know if he's going to be in a starting role or just a longer relief. He's been shaky at best because he missed almost the whole season. Anyway,
what I love about the postseason, it's like starters coming in for a couple innings. I love that. Fires me up. Maybe a relief pitcher
fired up. Let's go. It's been a season. I feel so much pressure as a Braves fan this year.
Yeah, that's what makes me nervous about the Braves.
Because it's just like when you're such a dominant team all year.
It's so easy to let a couple games slip by.
And the expectations, rightfully so, are World Series. Like this, without it, it doesn't really matter. Which is honestly part of the reason I wanted to get the like home run record and have Acuna hit that 40. We didn't even talk about that. Acuna 40-70.
That's crazy.
That is ridiculous.
MVP, baby.
MVP. 40-70.
The highest with 70 steals is 28 bombs. He destroyed that. He created a 40-70 club.
He created a 30-60 and then was like, hold on. Let's go 40-70.
It's crazy.
And join the 40-40. Anyway, I wanted to get the records because 104 or whatever wins they ended up with without a World Series means jack.
Correct, yeah.
And so it's like at least there's something.
At least Acuna had a record.
Consolation. Anyway.
And MVP.
MVP.
Gosh, one more bomb.
College football. First up, Colorado. What do we think about them? Because obliterated by Oregon, comes back a little bit against Southern Cal.
Dude, they came back a lot of bit against Southern Cal.
Yeah, it was final, 48, 41?
Yeah. They came back a lot of bit. Shador looked really good in the second half. They're still without Travis Hunter.
Do you know when he comes back? It's a couple weeks from now?
I want to say maybe not this week, but next week.
That sounds right. That sounds right, though.
But, dude, for a team that won one game last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be just fine. I also think Oregon and USC obviously are both a real deal. Like, they're both very solid football teams. And honestly, for them to only lose by a score, I mean, they were projected, I think it was like a 22 or something spread. I don't know, man. It definitely doesn't hurt them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And plus, they know they can kind of play with these guys. Like, they were definitely overmatched against Oregon. But the second half, they were not overmatched against USC.
Southern Cal. Carry on. I don't really know yet. I think that they're definitely going to have a little bit of overhype, but they are night and day different than the Colorado of the
they're definitely going to make a bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't play. I looked
3-2 still.
I don't think they play anyone else of that caliber the rest of the season.
I was very impressed with the second half team against Southern Cal. So
yeah, I think they'll go to a bowl, they'll win a bowl game, and then next year they'll get some more recruits, and then all of a sudden They might build a little something
Fine.
over there.
Because
Might be the next Alabama.
once you get some big boys, I think that's the difference.
The lineman.
Physically-
we talked about that, right?
Physically, they just can't quite hang.
Yeah.
Where with Travis Hunter especially, like they're going to get some flash. They're going to get some stuff going. Like the DBs are going to be making plays when Travis Hunter's in there because he's a nasty. Shador looks really good, like you're saying. But physically, if you can't, you just can't really be expected to build that in 1 year. I don't think.
No, that's what I'm saying. If they win a bowl game this year, what a turnaround,
Yeah.
right? And then on top of that, they've already gotten a couple recruits for the following year, next year, and so they can just keep building. If they go, 7-5 this year or something, win a bowl game, and then next year they go 9-3. Right,
Pretty soon they're going to be
big upset.
12-0 team.
Next thing you know, they're 48-0.
48-0.
But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to win a bowl this year.
Yeah. Other thing, is Duke good?
Comparatively to a normal Duke team, absolutely.
Do we think they're a top 20 team? Because they lost, what was it, 7 to Notre Dame? I don't really think they're good. They beat Clemson, which was la-di-da. Wow.
They beat Clemson more than Florida State beat Clemson.
It's true.
Yeah. I think Duke is.
Is Duke the best team in North Carolina?
Oh, no. I don't think so. I don't think
App
they're
State.
better than. I think it's definitely NC State. And then no, I mean, I don't think you can beat Drake May and UNC right now. I think they're legit. I don't think they're top 10 legit.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think they're a good football team, but I don't think they're
Because after the Clemson game, their catapult, I was like, this is ridiculous.
No,
This is
but
garbage.
comparatively
But
to a normal Duke team,
yeah, I think they're going to finish on the top
how
25,
about
which
the
is
ACC,
ridiculous.
dude?
Well, okay, let's look at the top 10 right now. We've got Georgia at 1, which, to be honest, that lead is narrowing. I don't know if they've
Michigan
played.
looks good too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if Georgia should be number 1 right now. Obviously, if you're going for a three-peat, you've got that leg up, and if you're still undefeated. Michigan's close, though, at 2nd. Texas, 3. Ohio State, 4. FSU, 5. Penn State, 6. Washington, Oregon, Southern Cal, 9. And then Notre Dame, 10. Not a lot of SEC schools there yet. Texas will be next year, I guess. But
And just Georgia, right?
yeah,
Georgia's
right now
number
it's
one.
just Georgia.
And then you have Alabama on the outside looking in. Dude, you have Miami, you have Duke, you have Florida State, you have UNC, you have 4.
And then in the 20 plus, it's like Kentucky at 20, Mizzou at 21, Tennessee at 22. So you've got some more there. Tennessee, man, that game was so frustrating. If you can't convert on 3rd down, can't win the game.
No.
Also, if we don't have an offensive line, Spencer Rattler might die.
What's the final score of that game again?
41-20. Don't go with your heart ever, Joe. It's a stupid, stupid thing.
Dude.
Remember when I was saying earlier in this podcast, it's a good thing Taylor Swift's able to be a fan. Sports fandom is great. I take it all back. I hate being a fan.
It sucks sometimes, especially when you're rooting for the Southern Carolina University.
The Southern Carolina. Amen, brother. Coming up, though, there's a lot of unbeaten teams.
Who's WSU?
Washington State.
Okay. I've just never really seen that. I was like, WSU.
I was like staring at the logo and there's a number of unbeaten teams, which is,
There is.
we'll see how long that lasts. But
But,
big games coming up.
yeah.
The Red River rivalry.
Oh.
One of our favorites.
The
We ranked it
Red.
high. Texas number 3,
Yep.
OU 12.
That's
Both
gonna be a
undefeated.
good game.
That's
man.
going to be a good game. I'm excited about it. It's in Dallas. I think
It's time
at
for Texas to
Cotton
go
Bowl.
down.
You think?
I think there's a chance.
Yeah,
Where's it
there's a
at?
chance. So it's, I think, the Cotton Bowl. It's in Dallas, though. Like a 3rd site.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Kentucky playing UGA. So Kentucky is unbeaten. They haven't really beaten.
They're going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
Really?
Yeah,
Georgia hasn't been blowing people out this year, though.
I know.
What
They're
you
going to
think?
blow Kentucky out.
All right. That one's clear. Done. Signed, sealed, delivered. I think they're going to win, but a spread, I think.
I
is
also think a team
around
like Georgia,
14.
a lot of times, like it takes them a few games to really
Yeah, when you haven't
start
lost in
gelling.
forever.
Yeah.
Fair. Maryland's also unbeaten, and they're playing OSU. Ohio State. I think that Maryland's going to get destroyed.
Yeah. for sure.
Just had to talk about it.
Yeah.
They're undefeated, and they're about to be defeated.
Yeah.
There's
well,
that.
Kentucky, Maryland. See you later.
See you later. Done with college football because it just is too painful. NFL Week 4. First up, Christian McCaffrey is a stud.
He's unbelievable.
He's so good. He had 20 carries for 106 yards, 5.3 yards per carry average, 3 touchdowns.
That's good math.
Quick guy up there. Then receiving 7 receptions for 71 yards and another touchdown. 4 touchdowns. The first 4 touchdowns for San Francisco. Ridiculous. The 49ers are so good. And as I mentioned earlier, Debo had less than 1 fantasy football point. George Kittle had 1 catch. I think they combined for 1 catch.
Pisses me off, man.
They're so good. So I had to shout out the guy who once again graces our podcast cover.
What I was thinking was, how sick would it be, though? I mean, it probably wouldn't be sick because we don't have a line to actually block like the 49ers do, but how sick would it be if like Christian McCaffrey and Bryce Young were together?
Ooh.
That's what I was thinking about. Was like, so that I have so many things that just get me about the Panthers, but well,
I'm so happy for him. And remember, I went with him on the trade. So as a 49ers fan, I'm pumped. Yeah. He would, for his health, I'm very glad he doesn't play for the Panthers. He doesn't deserve that.
He had a great end of the last season. He's having a great season this year, man. Like,
ridiculous.
Oh, this could turn into a hate Panthers podcast very quickly, man.
Get Tepper out of here.
Yeah, my goodness.
Well, before we do, actually, you know what? Let's go there. I'm sure that you have some overreactions about Bryce Young, so I'm going to just shut up and listen to you complain.
So I don't have overreactions about Bryce Young.
Are they just actual reactions?
Yes. But I have overreactions I have a lot of overreactions about the Panthers. One of my overreactions is the Panthers won't make the playoffs for the next 5 years. Guaranteed. No shot. Absolutely no chance. That means if they don't make the next 5 years, they're not going to re-sign Bryce to a big extension because there'd be no reason to. And so Bryce Young's time in Carolina is going to be a complete flop. Not because of Bryce Young as a quarterback, but because of what the Panthers have done. Also, Frank Reich could be the most average coach I've ever looked at and I've ever seen.
Go ahead.
So to finish up that little rant, I think Bryce Young's not a bad QB. Like, people are definitely overreacting by saying like Bryce Young is like comparative to like CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, like definitely not the best quarterback out of the draft. Like, okay, like CJ Stroud's having a great rookie season. Anthony Richardson looks good as well. But like a lot of guys do not have great rookie seasons like we talk about. And I think he has shown some promise with some of his decision-making skills. But, man, I tell you what, here's what gets me is like there was supposed to be hype around Carolina this season, and we both knew that, like, there's no shot. They bring in a new head coach, some new coaching staff. They bring in Adam Thielen, you know, I mean, there's apparently talk as well that they're in the market for T. Higgins. They apparently called that's the rumors. They called Bengals GM wondering if
who I said to fade this year.
Yeah.
So that gets me really fired up.
So, anyways, the Panthers, like, it sucks for Bryce, right? Just like it sucks for Zach Wilson. There's quarterbacks, man, that I think have really good talent, but that aren't like, I think there's only maybe 3 quarterbacks every 5 years that can actually transform a franchise without pieces around.
Yes.
Right? Like, I think Pat Mahomes, one of them. I think Cam Newton, when he came out, one of them. Right?
I don't think Pat Mahomes, though, because I don't think Pat Mahomes would be Pat Mahomes without Andy Reid and like the pieces in. I think that he was like a building block that was able to, but without the right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I feel like even if Pat Mahomes wasn't drafted later and he was drafted like top 3, I do feel like he would have turned around a franchise. Maybe he wouldn't be to the caliber he is today, but I still think he would have kind of turned around the franchise. Like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is another really good example, even though he's kind of
Josh Allen
not having a great. Wow.
Did Josh Allen not
turn around the franchise? I mean, that's a very bold statement for the Buffalo Bills, but
they did. They went full on rebuild.
Look, Josh Allen's a good QB.
They did full on rebuild with him.
Yeah, but they also supplied him with like the pieces.
Yeah, but that's part of a rebuild.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying the Panthers aren't doing.
Oh yeah. We all know that the like front office for the Panthers are not going to get the job done. Part of me, I'm like 5 years is a long time. A lot of stuff that can happen. But where I agree with you is I have never been big on the Frank Reich hire.
No.
I like Steve Wilkes personally.
They actually looked really good under Steve Wilkes last season. They won like what, 5 out of the last 6 games or something?
They won games, and now he's the 49ers. Once again, all good things come to the 49ers.
Yeah. And
Great.
he freaking bought or he won over the entire Panthers locker room. Like even the guys were like, I want to play.
Yeah.
So like you take that away from the guys and you, first of all, it's not like you're putting in like a Bill Belichick. This is what I didn't understand when they hired Frank Reich and people like the analysts were like, this is a good hire because like Frank Reich has done nothing in the league. Has Frank Reich even won a playoff game before?
I don't know. Actually, has he?
Maybe
a
one.
couple.
But like it was a big deal because he started the Panthers franchise, right? He was the QB in '95 or whenever the Panthers were the first year. But like you have the most average coach, arguably, and you have no weapons around Bryce Young. And then you're like, well, Bryce Young, what are you doing? Like, well, look at like who's calling the plays. Look at like the weapons you. So anyway, that's my whole rant where it's like I truly believe in the NFL, you can set guys up for complete and utter failure. I do believe that because, as we both know, confidence in sports plays a huge factor. If you don't feel like you can be out there after a couple years, right? And you're convinced like the fan base, like you suck, and you lose the confidence. Well, you just lost a lot of your ability to play quarterback because you don't make those quick decisions anymore because you don't have confidence. I think you can destroy someone's career by not putting them in the right spot. And actually, I think vice versa. I think you can actually, now they obviously can't be a bad quarterback, but if they're a decent quarterback out of college,
yes,
I think if you put the right weapons and the right coaching staff, they can be a great NFL system quarterback and they can end up making a Pro Bowl and like being a great quarterback.
I'm shocked at how much I've agreed with you on this rant. You're actually talking a little bit of sense out there. Which is why I think if you look at the numbers, a lot of the top 5 or top 5 picks that are quarterbacks are not successes.
Mm-hmm.
Go past that. Think about the number of quarterbacks that enter the draft every year versus the number of what we consider successful quarterbacks. One, it's an odds game that just doesn't really work out that well. But more than that, think about the systems they're coming in. I said it last episode. It's like if you're getting a first round pick, you either traded for it, which you gave up stuff, or you sucked. And that's how you got it. Or maybe you got lucky in like another deal and you ended up with like this future pick. Anyway, it's very easy to put someone in the bad situation. And then when you put the expectations on them to come in and be the savior of the organization, like it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
So I agree that I'm not on Bryce, but the Panthers are a very frustrating team.
Yes. And that's my last rant here.
Yep.
Because I want to get one more quick one in. My last rant is the mother, and you fell for this, is the memory and like the cognitive tests at the NFL. Yeah. There's been one study, by the way. I looked this up. I did some research.
Yeah.
One correlation of this actually working, Brock Purdy. That was the only time where someone scored like abnormally high and wasn't looked at as like, a top talent.
Yep.
And they're like, oh my gosh, we figured something out. And then like it's gone in reverse order this year where it's like Bryce Young scored he scored, I think, actually a couple points higher than Bryce or Brock Purdy. And then CJ Stroud was like one of the lowest ever.
So I do think it is interesting because I have seen funny like memes about it where it's like the equivalent of a Buzzsprout or a BuzzFeed to quiz. But one, Anthony Richardson looks good. Which is because I remember I will stand by it and you keep saying it's been like one game, it's been 2 games. I first thought that he was a high potential guy and I'm like, actually, I think he's just got like a higher floor than the rest of them because he can come in and make plays.
That's a good point.
It's what you're saying. It's the Cam Newton.
Yeah, you're right.
If you don't have all these pieces, how are you expected to be able to make NFL reads with receivers that aren't open and then like go on and on? It's like you can't really do that. But if you can run the ball, that opens up another like lane.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So anyway, that's where I think Anthony Richardson has a leg up.
Okay.
Thought that I had recently about CJ Stroud. I feel like the Texans have had one of the first 5 picks for the last 15 years.
At least.
So surely they've got
Some like knowledge.
something they know how to like work one, and hopefully they built some resources around them. Anyway, that one's interesting to me. I don't really know. Well, actually, yeah, I was gonna go there. The confusing teams. There's some teams that I cannot figure out right now. One of them's the Texans.
Yeah.
The other one though is
Yeah.
the Titans. They have like a very bad game, and then they come back and well, let's see what was the score this week. They go 27-0 against the Bengals, or 27-3 against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Next week,
dude,
they're probably
that
gonna.
was tough because I couldn't tell if it was just the Bengals were that bad or the Titans like look that good. I
Right,
do have
'cause
a feeling that it's the Bengals that are
Well,
that
but
bad,
no. Then I think the Titans didn't they get blown out by the Browns?
27-3, same score.
Yeah, they got blown out by the Browns. Then they take the Chargers to overtime and win.
Yeah. Which
I-
was a good game. And they barely lost to the Saints. Like 16-5 or 16-15. They lost the Saints.
I just cannot figure them out. Browns, yeah, they got destroyed by the Ravens. Deshaun Purboy was out. Obviously, Chubb's out. So
Purple.
that one's interesting. But the Titans are just very confusing to me.
Yeah, well, the Browns have a bye this week. They're playing the 49ers on the 15th. So we'll see what they're really made
Yeah,
of.
if they're healthy coming into that one.
But yeah, Ravens destroyed them.
Impressive teams.
Gosh, Bengals suck.
They.
I don't know, dude. Like I don't
Burrow's
know.
playing hurt. He's clearly hurt.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's not like.
He can't move. Watch him move around the pocket. Though.
No,
He-
I know.
And they've always had a bad offensive line.
I know.
Think about when he had, what was it, 9 sacks in that playoff game, I think.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was like the most a quarterback's been hit in
Yeah.
a playoff game ever or something. And it wasn't like Joe Burrow was just holding on to the ball
Nope.
all day.
He's getting like a half a second to throw it. So he's,
I mean, well, it was like the whole thing, like Jamar Chase said. It was like, yes, he's a competitor, and yes, he wants to play, but like, to what detriment? I mean, at the end of the day, like probably hurt Burrow is better. Who's their backup again? Is better than whoever they freaking have in the backup QB spot.
not Andy Dalton.
Yeah, except Panthers, thank goodness. But dude, you gotta rest him because like
Because at some point, if you keep playing him every week, he's just going to
they
not
didn't
ever
score a
heal.
touchdown.
But yeah, so one, if you're not being productive playing him and you're keeping him from getting better.
Like, I hate saying this, man, but like, unless something crazy clicks with the Bengals the next couple weeks, which it might, Joe Burrow is that guy. I mean, it really might.
They might not even win the Super Bowl.
They might not, dude. They might go like 4-13. Like, imagine that.
Do you want to change your Super
After like going to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and then making it to the. No, I think they just made it to the. No, they made it to the AFC Championship last year, didn't they? Yeah, they beat the Bills.
Yes.
Yeah, so they played the Chiefs again, and this time the Chiefs won.
Might not even make the playoffs this year.
So you went Super Bowl, AFC Championship, 4-13. Like you're like, I don't know, man. Whatever.
That'll be
I
an
can't
interesting
figure it
one.
out.
Do you want to change your Super Bowl predictions yet? Because you have them winning it all.
Yeah.
I stand by last year's and carrying on. I think it's going to be a Bills for
Who did I have in the NFC? Eagles again?
Eagles. I'm pretty sure you had Eagles versus Bengals,
right,
and
so-
I think I had 49ers Bills.
Okay. I like 49ers, Eagles to the NFC still. And then I like Chiefs, Bills right now for the AFC.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It would be fun to see the Dolphins kind of make a little run, though.
Oh, I would
that
like that.
would be kind of fun.
It would be a fascinating
Even though they
Super
just
Bowl.
got destroyed, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that game, though, I guess the teams that have scored more than 65 in the last like 60, 70 years or whatever. I think they were 1-5 the next week afterwards.
Really? Yeah.
So,
Because it was just fire. It's like your fantasy team.
yeah.
Also, to kind of piggyback on the quarterback rants, Zach Wilson.
He looked very good.
Look, he looked better than Patrick Mahomes. Dare I say?
Another one of the funniest things I saw was like Taylor Swift now thinks that Zach Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Dude, I mean, good. I mean, the Chiefs defense is not bad. We're not going against the Panthers.
No, I mean
here.
his throws looked very good.
They did.
He was making, for the most part, he was making good reads. He was making excellent throws where He was directing the receiver
Yeah.
where there weren't
Yeah.
defenders. He was going like back shoulder at the right time, was turning around, hitting them in stride. He looked good.
He did. Also,
Felt bad for the fumble, honestly. Or are you about to talk about the hold?
first of all, the hold was BS, by the way. I mean,
Well, because remember, they love the Chiefs because Taylor.
dude. And like that whole penalty of the Bengals last year, remember that? Remember the guy was like, it was like a very questionable, was he out of bounds? And then, gosh. Anyway, but they do love the Chiefs, man. And that, for an aggressive game that was happening, like, here's what I say. It's like, if it's blatant, call it. And once again, it's easier said than done because it's like in the moment. But like, do not decide the game as a referee. Don't do it. Stop.
It's the same thing that we talked about with the Bradbury call in the Super Bowl. My biggest pet peeve with it is when you change the way that you've been calling it all game.
Correct.
At the end, where it's like, I'm on the side of call less.
Yes.
I like that.
Especially
Personally,
at the
I stand
end.
by it. Right. But even though I would get as frustrated if you were calling it all game and at the end you decided not to call it. It's like, I would rather you choose to be to not call much. But either way, whatever you choose, you've got to be consistent. You can't like establish a norm and then all of a sudden flip it in the most important moment.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts too.
But typical Jets fashion, Zach Wilson does fumble at the end.
Yeah. Gosh. Dude, I've never felt bad for him despite everything. But when he on the sideline was like, I lost the game on that, I did kind of feel a little bit bad.
Dude,
for him.
I'm sorry. I feel bad for Zach Wilson.
Because
like-
you got drafted by the most cursed organization of all time.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes. I feel, and finally they're at a point now where they built everything around him. And then they bring in Rodgers. I mean, don't get me wrong, smart decision. Like Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to ever play the game. But the fact that like they finally build a team, build an organization, Aaron Rodgers comes in, Zach Wilson's like no expectation start, and then thrown in there, and he does struggle the first couple games because once again he wasn't the start, like he wasn't taking first
And
team
it's
reps.
Aaron Rodgers' offense, which is
Correct,
not
dude.
an easy
You
one to
know
run.
for a fact he was checked out. Like for a fact he was like, I'm not playing this year.
But I think that he was learning a lot. I think that it would have been good for him.
Well,
But
that's what I'm saying. But like, dude, and even the fact, like, I'm sorry, but like, what legend said he was like, thought Zach Wilson was garbage or something, or get him out of there? Like, first of all, like, who else? Like, unless you're the Jets and you actually trade for someone right now, like, if you trade for,
yeah, it's like,
Kirk
what are your
Cousins,
options?
but,
I saw
like,
people talk about getting Colin Kaepernick back.
shut up,
Yeah, like
shut up.
Zach Wilson's
Shut
going to
up.
be better than someone who hasn't played in the league for, what is it, like 7 years now? No
I'm
idea how
so
long.
fed up with like, I also hate how a lot of times I don't know, it's a quarterback position, so they put so much blame on the quarterback position.
The best thing that the NFL broadcast did was when they showed the Jets quarterback carousel from the last, like, I guess, started out with Mark Sanchez.
Oh, the butt fumble.
It was like 15 different quarterbacks that have
But
come
anyway,
through the
that
door.
says I am low key. If Zach Wilson turns it around, I will be the biggest Zach Wilson fan. Speaking of Zach Wilson, dude, I think I need to have a segment every week.
Yeah.
We're talking QBs. That's what I get fired up about.
You do get fired up about
We
it.
need to have a Christian QB segment where it's like I'll do like the top 3 quarterback plays of the week, and I'll describe them.
You do it
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
now that you're done with your
That's
accounting
all.
gig.
That's all Baker Mayfield. Oh gosh, I get one on.
You can't even get, we can't even get you started on Baker. The last funny meme that I'll say, did you see the one that was it was a picture of Zach Wilson looking up at the like box or somewhere up there, and then the picture of Kelsey looking up at Taylor Swift, and the caption was, it was Kelsey looking up, it was like Kelsey looking at Taylor Swift, and it was Zach Wilson looking at Donna Kelsey.
That's actually pretty funny.
Oh, it was
What a guy!
hilarious.
What a legend!
What a legend.
Yeah, nuts, man.
All right, should we do our power rankings now that
We had some similar stuff, didn't
we got some similar stuff?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep it going first? You want me to mix
I'll
it
go
up?
first. I'm gonna go quick here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks at 10.
3-1.
I'm gonna go Ravens at 9.
Yep.
Seahawks defense sexily at 8. Detroit Lions at 7.
After they destroyed your top 5 Packers.
Even after Jahmyr Gibbs pisses me off. Dallas Cowboys at 6. I don't have the heart to put them in the top 5 yet because they lost the Cardinals. Miami Dolphins at 5, even though they got a little outgunned and outmatched by the Bills, but I think it was a little cool down after this 4,800 point week. Bills at 4. I think it's
Yep.
very fair for them. I think the Chiefs at 3, even though it was a very squeaky game against the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't think the Chiefs are as good as people think this year. And then Eagles at 2 squeaked one out against the Redskins, which Sam Howell, by the way, looked like Tom Brady in that last drive.
Dude, the 2-minute drill was fire.
And then San Francisco 49ers, I think, are key one here.
Oh yeah. Also, I've got the Bucks at 10. They're 3-1. They've earned it. I don't want to put them at 10, but they've earned it.
Yeah.
Seahawks at 9. That was one of the most depressing Monday Night Football games I've watched last night. Come on, Giants.
Yeah.
Lions at 8. They're winning. They look really good. Ravens 7. Once again, they're also getting the job done. Their injuries just terrify me. I feel like in a lot of ways they might even should be higher, but there they are. Cowboys at 6. It's not prejudice that has me keeping them out of the top 5. It's the fact that you can say that Arizona's a trap game and they just overlooked it, but to get destroyed like that doesn't scream top 5 team to me.
Right.
Whether they got outgunned or they overlooked it. Whereas the Dolphins at 5, yeah, they got beat handily by the Bills. As you can see, I've got the Bills ranked higher than the Dolphins. I think the Bills are a very good team. It was in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Bills, their one bad game was against the Jets, and that was the game that Aaron Rodgers went down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Bills are a very good team, and the Dolphins are going to be a hot and cold team, especially because it's like they're just have that like electric energy. So anyway, I've got them coming at 5. Chiefs at 4. I actually have them dropping down because they almost lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
If the NFL referees didn't help them out. Then 3 Bills. Almost had them at 2. The reason I didn't is because Eagles are no, not even that. They have looked insane since then. I think they are playing very good football right now. The Eagles, though, are 2 because at the end of the day, they're 4-0. Like, if they're winning, they're one of 2 unbeaten teams. They've earned it. 2. 1, 49ers, they look on top of the world. They look so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, almost put the Bills above the Eagles because the Eagles still have not wowed me. But at the end of the day, it's like four games in a row, you're getting the job done. That speaks for it. I think, though, if the Bills and the Eagles played right now, I think the Bills would win.
The only thing that worries me with the Eagles right now is actually not their offense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hurts is still looking pretty good, and I think it's just going to keep getting better and better throughout the season. But their defense is like their pass defense, especially.
The Bills?
No, the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's not looking nearly as good as it was. Like, their defense just isn't looking as a whole as good as it was last year, even with the addition of Jalen Carter on the line. And so it'll be interesting to see.
When the 49ers picked up Javon Hargrave, I think he was a big piece of the Eagles defense.
100%.
Although you're right, Jalen Carter looks nice even with it, though. To me, though, the positives, because I've been harder on the Eagles lately.
You have.
Jalen Hurts played really well.
He did.
He's looking better. A.J. Brown finally had a good breakout week.
Dude, he looked good too.
Goddard's still off to a slow start.
Yeah,
so.
It really is. They haven't used him much in the game plan at all.
Yeah, so again, they have a lot of pieces available. I've kind of, the way I did these power rankings, especially this week, because to me, 49ers are clear 1. 2 through 5 even could kind of flop for me some.
I think 2 through 4.
But I kind of kept going. Yeah, 2 through 4 especially. But I was thinking through, like, in head-to-head, who would win. And, like, right now, I like the Dolphins over the Cowboys. If the Dolphins and the Cowboys were playing 1-1.
I think this week will be really interesting for the 49ers, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, who's the best team the 49ers have played so far?
They haven't really played.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, so Arizona, they did destroy the Cowboys. So,
True.
like, they aren't a great team. Dobbs has, the last 2 weeks, has looked pretty good.
Yes.
It'll be an interesting week.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll
I still
see.
like them to beat the Cowboys, but.
All right. We got our picks coming up. We got our predictions.
Feeling sexy about these picks.
Feeling
man.
great. Going over last week's
I beat
games. You beat me. First, this was,
Christian
guys,
beat Joe.
I got COVID last week.
Christian beat Joe.
I got COVID. My fantasy football team that was undefeated did not even score 70 points. I lost to Christian in my picks. It was a tough week.
Tough week for you, man.
The pride is wounded.
You need it to be wounded.
Take that back. That was mean. All right. South Carolina, I was very nervous. You faded it. You got it right. They did not cover the spread. Dolphins, Bills, shocker. They did cover the over. Then Bengals, Titans. You see, I went with your boy.
Dude,
the Titans shocked me.
That's your favorite bet is the Dolphins over.
I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
Then Chiefs, Jets. Thank you, Patrick Mahomes, for being a scumbag.
Not scoring today.
And because betting's legal in Kansas City, he just ruined all of them by sliding on the 1 yard line. Way to care about winning the game more than hitting the spread, you scumbag. Then Ravens.
I am surprised he didn't
easily
score.
covered. Almost went money line on that one, which I thought was crazier. And so I did spread because I was like, why not? I'm allowed to. And they won by quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Yeah.
You had Notre Dame beating Duke, which hit. Panthers, Vikings, you're saying, as much as I love the Dolphins over, you love the spread against Carolina, which you were right.
I do love the spread.
You also thought that Josh Allen, quote unquote, is overrated.
I love how you take it to that extreme. I just think he's the worst top 5 QB. That means he's number 5 in the league. Bills. They're out of my top 5. Josh Allen's overrated. I do think he is overrated for top 3. I think he's the 5th.
Now he's overrated for top 3. That's ridiculous.
I think comparatively to what other people compare him to Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. That's when I think it's overrated.
Compare him to Joe Burrow this year.
This year, yeah, you're right.
Oh, well, yeah,
But in the past.
well, we love the past here. Then the Cowboys covering. You said they're going to bounce back, and boy, oh boy, did they! But
I
you
knew they
missed
would
the
bounce
Eagles
back.
Commanders. This game went to overtime.
I did. I actually thought the Eagles were going to really take it away, but
Yeah.
at least the Eagles won.
So now we've got, you are 8, 11, and 1.
Yep.
1 for 2 on the fades, and I am 12 and 8, 2 and 2.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
All right, coming up, I'll run through this first. We've got Eagles, or pick one for me. It's in the Eagles versus Rams game. I've got the Eagles covering. It's 4.5. Like that. Then the 49ers, Cowboys, lines 3.5. San Francisco's covering. Vikings, Chiefs. The spread is 5. I think the Chiefs are covering. Also in that game as bet number 4 or prediction number 4, I think that over is going to hit. It's 53.
That's the over right now, or the line 53.
53.
I feel like that's high.
Yeah, I mean,
The Vikings suck.
yeah, but they do have an offense whenever it does unlock.
Right.
And the Chiefs have been lower.
So you think it's going to unlock this week?
I think that's going to be a higher scoring game. And
Yeah.
then Oklahoma versus Texas, I don't know why I'm doing college football. I hate making predictions on college football, but I think that Texas is going to cover the 6.5. Notice, no Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm
You know why?
surprised because you lost.
Nope. Because that bet hit. That
the
prediction
over,
hit.
Yeah.
The reason the Dolphins are not an over is because it's 50 and they're playing the Giants. I do not think the Giants will score. So I need them to score some for the over to hit.
By
probably.
the way, as far as the Giants go, I lost in fantasy to Andrew because Daniel Jones got 7 points.
Yeah.
If he would have gotten 6, I would have won. I was like, I was up 7 with Daniel Jones to go. Or up 6.
And you're like, it's done. It's over.
I won.
And then all of a sudden.
And then he got 7 points. So I'm going to go Commanders versus Bears. Commanders taking this one minus 6.5, covering the spread. They looked really good against the Eagles in the second half. And Sam Howell looked Tom Brady-esque on the 2-minute drill.
And the Bears are the Bears.
Well, and the Bears suck. But, dude, Sam Howell, yes, the 2-minute drill and the game plan was efficient, but his throws were like dimes.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Cowboys versus 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to destroy the Cowboys. And by destroy, I mean they're going to cover the 3.5 point spread.
And probably more, maybe
But I
potentially.
do think they're probably going to win by 10. My prediction would be
Yeah.
49ers win by 10. Vikings versus Chiefs. That's the same bet as you. I think Chiefs.
Yeah,
probably
the last
win by
two are
2
the same for
touchdowns.
both. We both have the Cowboys, 49ers, and the Chiefs, Vikings.
Oh, yeah. And then and I'm going to keep rolling with it because I'm 2 for 2 here. I'm going to try to go 3 for 3 with Panther spreads. I'm betting against the Panthers. So who's ever against the Panthers, I'm taking that team to cover. By the way, that's the highest Lions spread right there.
8.5.
Since 2019. Might be 2017. I read a statistic. Don't know if it's true. But I think that's the highest favored spread
Well, the
by the
good
Lions.
news is unless our defense scores a touchdown, it's only going to be field goals because
Right.
Bryce Young is great outside the red zone.
Yes. So I think Lions cover the minus 8.5. And then lastly, I do think the Jets cover against the Broncos. Yes, the Broncos are trash, But also, I think Zach Wilson finally gets a little bit of confidence, and the Jets team has a little bit of confidence from the last performance. And I think actually, I'm gonna do the plus 2.5 just in case. But I do believe Jets take that game.
Okay. I like the Commanders Bears. That'll be tonight when you're listening. Thursday Night Football. I'm surprised that's only 6.5, honestly. Bears, yeah.
Yeah, and Commanders have looked good.
They've looked okay.
They're 2-2. They're fine.
The Jets one, I would have the least confidence in, but I wouldn't fade it either.
Right.
And then the Panthers Lions, I wanna say you might be surprised, but I don't think you will be. I don't think we're gonna be surprised. Yeah. If I could fade one of my own, it would be the Red River rivalry, because why?
That one is unpredictable.
Yeah, why would I put that up here?
Also, I think the Vikings Chiefs over.
You want to fade it?
No, because I do think Patrick Mahomes had a bad game.
So that was my thought. I think their offense has not looked great outside of the first half against the Bears. And so I think they're going to really try to get the offense going.
Yeah.
And then I think the Vikings defense is not good.
Right.
And then I think that the Vikings are going to score
Well, they did just beat the Panthers, though.
So they might win the Super Bowl.
I don't think the Panthers scored
They might
a
win the
touchdown.
Super Bowl.
The Panthers also, they did score a defensive touchdown. They didn't score.
Well, that's like what I was saying earlier. Unless our defense scores a touchdown, it's only going to be field goals. So pick up the Panthers kicker. In other news, we've got Mr. Incognito with some hot undercover takes.
What's up, guys? Mr. Incognito checking back in for another week of college football. First game I want to touch on is LSU going to Missouri. So far, I've been pretty high on LSU this year, and I've admittedly been wrong because their defense
it's like me with Jacksonville.
Terrible. They have to travel to Missouri this year, who's currently undefeated and has been playing some pretty good football. The line is at 6.5 right now in LSU's favor. I think Missouri gets it done at home. Game number 2 I want to touch on is Alabama going to Texas A&M. It's a night game. Alabama's kind of down. Texas A&M's playing pretty well. I'm going with the Aggies on this one. Last and not least,
like that one.
and probably the most controversial game thus far, is Ole Miss taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ole Miss just came off of a really big game against LSU where they got the win. Very emotional game. They take on an Arkansas team that has not really shown up so far this year. They have 3 losses already. But I think it's a perfect trap game for Ole Miss. Arkansas has a lot of talent on that team. They just haven't shown up. I think this is the week they show up. They're currently an 11.5 point underdog. But I think they pull off the upset at Ole Miss. All right, guys, take those picks to the bank. We'll catch you next week.
Boom. Shout out Incognito.
Let's go.
You got to love the thought of Alabama going down. I know you.
I don't think they're going to win a national championship for the next 40 years. So
40?
I just keep
the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl before. That would be ridiculous. Last football thing, I brought up Jacksonville. Do you watch any of the Toy Story game?
No.
Sunday morning? It was kind of wild. So they had like the ESPN Plus had a broadcast that was like live time in Andy's room. So it was like they got, I guess, converted to like toy characters and it was animated. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. That is cool.
They had a few issues early on, but then it got cleaned up. I ended up watching the second half with the actual broadcast, but it was fun. It was, interesting.
Are they doing it again this year?
I don't know. The Jaguars are still in London though. So
are they?
The Bills are going over there now.
They're playing Jags.
Yeah, in Tottenham. It was in
Why didn't
Wembley
we pick
before.
that?
So I was gonna pick the Bills because I think it's like 5. It's around 5, but the Jags being able to stay over there for another week, I don't know how that really plays in.
You're very low on the Jags.
I know
that doesn't make sense.
No, I had it and then I deleted it.
Oh wow.
So I'm turning into the same thing that's happened with golf, the same thing that happens with Florida Man. I'm a mental case. I'm a basket case, and it's my undoing. It's right here. Draft time though. We have
NFL QBs.
The GOATs. Even episode, pick one. Tom Brady.
No. Do you get that?
207 regular season wins, 30 postseason wins, ridiculous. 7 Super Bowls. And he's thrown for almost 90,000 yards, which is the equivalent of a little bit over 50 miles. 50 miles of passing.
That's insane.
That's insane.
That's actually crazy. Well, I mean, I feel like this is kind of maybe not an obvious one, but number 2 has to be Joe Cool and not Joe Burr.
Joe
right?
Mon.
Joe Montana, baby. That's my number one pick. That's second overall, I guess, because he had 4 Super Bowls and 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He also had like a 2% interception percentage. And overall, there's a reason your nickname's Joe Cool. But it might not be as cool as Joe Burr.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Pick number 2. Your number 1 pick, Joe Montana, said that this guy was the greatest quarterback of all time. Not himself, Joe Montana, or Tom Brady, but Dan Marino. Because check this out.
Wow.
I think this was 1984, he had over 5,000 passing yards and 48 touchdowns. That's better than Patrick Mahomes' MVP season, and that was with 17 games. And this was not in like a passer, like this was back in the day.
100%.
Imagine in the modern day what Dan Marino would do, throw into receivers like DK Metcalf. The guy would be.
You're right.
Imagine if he was on the Dolphins now with like Tyreek Hill taking off Waddle. The guy would throw for 8,000, 9,000 passing yards in a season.
Dude, that's crazy. But he would have gotten drafted in top 5, like we talked about in the spring. Number 2 for me, my second pick, the 4th pick overall in the quarterback draft. You got to go Peyton Manning, right? Like you can't not go Peyton Manning in this, because I'm surprised you actually didn't pick him with 3, because we're talking 5-time NFL MVP. We're talking 14-time Pro Bowler, right? And then of course that Super Bowl we beat the Panthers 10-15, which was really upsetting.
That was very upsetting.
But I mean, he redefined the word Omaha, right? He redefined different words.
They were phasing out quarterbacks calling plays. I think it was like the Raiders were the only team that still had quarterbacks still calling plays. He came in with that mind of his. He obviously is very smart, because very smart. All in the forehead.
But I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, he had 72,000 passing yards.
I am a little surprised that he dropped to 4. I wanted to go Dan Marino, because the thought of him on the current day Miami Dolphins is really fun to me. So I went with that. But no, that's a good one. 3 is interesting.
Yeah, this is an interesting pick here. You can go a few different ways.
I can go a few different ways. Part of me wanted to do Drew Brees. He has a career passing completion percentage of 67.7. So basically 68. Incredibly accurate. Did you see the video a while back of him being more accurate than an Olympic archer?
No, I did not actually.
The guy is incredibly athletic, incredibly accurate. It's listed at 6 feet. He's probably like what, 5'10", 5'11". So given short kings, shocker, that's short kings now in the NFL. Hope, but I think I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes here.
Hold on, what?
I know.
Of all time, you're already putting him as the 5th best QB of all time already.
So here's the rationale. I don't think right now, if his career ended, Patrick Mahomes is number 5. But if he plays even like a 15-year career at almost the same pace that he has, he will be a lock in it. It's like a future. I'm drafting a future on Patrick Mahomes being in there. But like look at what he's done. In 6 seasons, essentially, he has look at these stats so far. His completion percentage is at 66%. He's thrown for 25,000 yards, 200 touchdowns, for 54 interceptions with a career rating of 105. So that's because he played barely any in season 1. He played 5 complete seasons and change. So we're talking like 5.5 seasons.
Yep.
If he plays a 15-year career, that's at like 75, 76, 77,000 passing yards, 600 touchdowns. He's already played in 3 Super Bowls, already won 2 of them in his first few years. Again, this is where it's like, everything in me wants to say, don't go Patrick Mahomes yet, but I might look like an idiot in 7 years if I had said no here. So you know what? I'm looking like an idiot now for the potential of not looking like an idiot later.
Okay, that's fair. I also react a little bit. That's fair.
Yeah. Shocker.
Right. So I'm going to go for me number 6. And it's probably not the 6th best QB of all time, but I just can't draft another old guy. I'm sorry. I can't draft Steve Young, John Elway here. I just can't do it. I got to go Drew Brees, the number 2 in the NFL passing yards history. Right behind, guess who?
Tom Brady.
Thomas.
Thomas.
This is real name, Thomas. But anyway, Drew Brees, I mean, unbelievable. He had a 68% completion rating. Also, he has over 80,000 passing yards. And he does at least have a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. Now, he only has one, which is kind of a little knock on him.
Listen to this, though. There have been 17 seasons in which an NFL quarterback completed 70% of his passes or better. Drew Brees has 7 of those.
Yeah, it's nuts.
He has 7 of the 17.
I actually almost went Brett Favre there. Bonus pick. And the reason is he played 297 consecutive games.
That would have been a hot take. I like the Drew Brees one. I was between Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes.
It would be a little bit of a hot take, but at the same time, it's like
Scandalous.
290. Yeah, I know. 297 straight NFL games.
Yeah, that is kind of nuts.
That's insane.
Wrangler. That's all I got to say.
Fit
Wrangler.
good.
Wrangler and Ford. Built tough.
A lot of people put Brett Favre up there, like top 5 of all time. Definitely top 8.
He is. Yeah. It's so insane. I know that a lot of people have been talking about it lately, but it is insane the run that the Packers have had with quarterbacks.
100%.
Do you have 2...
Jordan Love's kind of looking good, too.
He's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, we'll see where he ends up, but he's probably around top 15.
Oh, dude,
right. But I would say
100%.
top, but we'll just say top 15.
100%. Yeah.
Just say top 15.
Yeah.
Brett Favre, top 15.
Yeah. And they have
I would
back-to-back,
venture to say both of them top 10 even.
close. Yeah. It's
But
an
for
argument.
the sake of the argument,
It's an argument.
we'll go 2 top 15 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You have 2 top 10 quarterbacks back to back, spanning essentially 3 decades.
Yeah.
That's so unfair.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, I think, like we said, I think he's gonna be good, but that's also
Dude,
very
how
unfair
crazy would it be
expectations to
if
come
like
into.
Jordan Love became like a top 20 of all time, right? Just went off, and then it's like in the last 50 years, the Packers have had like 3
And
quarterbacks.
then the next 100 after that, they have no one.
Yeah, and then they turn into the Jets.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just ridiculous. Though.
yeah, it's nuts. Well, hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Undrafted Amateurs.
And if you
Sponsored
did,
by Nasal Strips. If you haven't tried nasal strips,
breathe right.
just know that they open your nasal passages.
Actually, not breathe right because they're not paying us. Generic nasal strips.
If you've been to Kroger, pick the generic one.
But if
I'm
you
gonna
want
wear one tonight.
extra strength,
Oh, I wish they made even extra. I want my nose to be like,
I want to peel skin off in the morning. Also, subscribe or share.
yeah, we haven't said
Or
that in a
like.
while. We should start saying that more.
We should. People should start doing it more.
We should text
about
our
that?
friends and be like, you need to send this to 5 people right now or you get COVID. Like one of those strings. It's like, you gotta send. Step on a crack, baby.
Peace.